I'm really glad to be here at this Airport City Summit. It's great to be in the room with people who are as excited as we are about the Western Sydney Airport and the huge growth opportunity that you all know this represents for the Western Sydney economy. It's also great to see that the Prime Minister was here earlier, and that really highlights the national significance of this discussion, the national significance of Western Sydney, which has already pipped Brisbane to become the third biggest economy in Australia. And I'll tell you what, with the airport opening next year, I'd hate to be sitting at number 2 in that list. So look out, Melbourne. But it is a reflection of the national scale of this important development. Now, I'll acknowledge that we're here on Darug land. I'd also like to acknowledge Chris Brown, Adam Leto. To Chris, Adam and the team, you do a fantastic job of pushing the Western Sydney agenda. Thanks to Simon Hickey for his address, and I want to welcome Karen Jones, CEO of Destination New South Wales, all the mayors and councillors who are here with us as well. In this room today, we share the same objective of maximising the opportunities from the Western Sydney International Airport when it opens next year. At that moment, Western Sydney will take its own place on the world stage. Western Sydney will be directly connected to the world, and the world will be directly connected to Western Sydney. That will mean a bigger role in our economy for Western Sydney, but also a bigger role in our identity. Who we are, what we have to offer as a city, as a state, and as a nation. It is on that scale. It will also fundamentally change the visitor experience. The harbour city will no longer be the gateway to the western part of our city. Visitors will be able to go straight to a Panthers game, straight to El Jannah for some chicken, straight to the new powerhouse, or to the supercars at Eastern Creek, and from there to the Blue Mountains, the Central West, or the Illawarra. And as you all know, Western Sydney will be a critical growth area for the New South Wales visitor economy, and the airport is the key to unlocking that. Last year, the government committed to the ambitious goal of supporting the New South Wales visitor economy to grow from its current level of $53 billion a year in visitor expenditure to $91 billion a year by the end of the next decade. As our review of the strategy revealed, that growth depends on a big boost in aviation capacity, an 8.5 million seat boost to be specific. And Western Sydney International Airport will play a key role in that change. We know with Qantas alone, we're talking about 4 million passengers coming to the airport. Add to that Singapore Airlines, and you can see how it could grow towards 10 million passengers and well beyond. Right now, the hard work is being done to land more carriers and more routes, as you heard this morning. As the opening gets closer and closer, that becomes increasingly important, which is why today I'm announcing the government will be stepping in to assist the airport in landing those routes by launching the Western Sydney International Takeoff Fund. This $8 million fund will be matched with $8 million from the Western Sydney International Airport. That combined $16 million will be used to incentivise airlines to fly to Western Sydney. Decided on a case-by-case basis, the money can be used for a combination of passenger rebates for the airlines and strategic marketing support. We expect these incentives will deliver an extra 162,000 international visitors to New South Wales and will generate an estimated $530 million of visitor expenditure. We know the model works because we've just rolled out the Aviation Attraction Fund, which was brought in by the previous government, and full credit to them, to help our aviation and tourism sectors out of the pandemic. That fund was accessible to all airports and helped land 35 routes, including the recent addition of Turkish Airlines for the first time ever in New South Wales and their huge international network. The Western Sydney International Takeoff Fund is a targeted evolution of the earlier fund. As the name suggests, it's all about making sure Western Sydney International Airport is set for takeoff. Now, alongside the fact that we've doubled road funding in Western Sydney. We believe this fund gives the airport an even stronger chance to succeed. Along with boosting aviation, one of the other key supply channels that we need to boost will be hotels. If we're going to reach that ambitious $91 billion target for visitor expenditure for the state, we estimate we'll need to build another 40,000 hotel rooms. That will take changes to the planning system. We cannot do that with the system that we've got in place at the moment. Reaching that goal will also be about training our workforce, teaching the right skills to fill the 150,000 new jobs that will be on offer. It's also about creating and marketing the experiences that keep people coming back. That's about the food, nature, culture, the adventures, all of which we have here in bulk supply in New South Wales. So there's lots of opportunity, lots more work to do to meet these goals. Crucially, from a government point of view, we know that this is not something government can deliver alone. We've got a role to play, but it's not to deliver this. This really is a team sport involving business and all levels of government. We're really keen to keep playing our part, but today I really wanted to be here at this important conference to thank you for your hard work on these issues. Have a great day, have a great conference.
Minister, thank you for your time and for your ongoing support of the dialogue. As Brett mentioned, wasn't that long ago we had you at Boomtown and recently at our Best of the West launch out at the airport, which was great. Obviously the PM's announcement earlier today has attracted a lot of attention, rightly so, but what you've just announced in terms of the takeoff fund, I think has the potential to be just as significant. Do you want to talk us through exactly how that will work and what in real terms it means for Western Sydney and the airport itself?
Yeah, we've obviously been talking direct to the airport about the potential, and the review we did of the tourism strategy showed how important airports and airlines were. So we'll keep working in that area, but it was clear that we couldn't wait till the state budget, given the opportunity is absolutely now. This is when the discussions are happening, this is when the decisions are happening about what airlines will fly into Western Sydney International Airport. So that's why we've moved very quickly to do this. We know this works. We know the returns are very significant based on the earlier experience. New South Wales hasn't traditionally been active in this area. We've gained the benefits of being the gateway to the country already. This government's view is we need to be far more active, and this is one of the first steps forward in driving that agenda.
So on that notion of activity, as you know, we launched our airport readiness campaign earlier this morning, similarly named Take Flight, not Take Off, so we didn't want to steal your name. But I know it's something you've been supportive of in sort of engaging with industry to understand what the needs are, what can be done at that state level around supporting some of those visitor and tourist assets that we've got in the region. What are some of the things that you think that you're likely to see, or in terms of what the state government can realistically invest in over the next 18 to 24 months to support some of those industry groups in the tourist and visitor space?
Yeah, well, this is a crucial discussion now. Everyone's been focused on the potential, but it's really time to get down to tin tacks on this. So a couple of those areas that I highlighted, that road infrastructure around the airport and across Western Sydney, that's why we've doubled that in successive budgets. Working with the Commonwealth Government, and I want to really recognise the role they played in assisting us to do that. I see this intervention as crucial, but really we need to work together to coordinate the many, many things that we have to do, as you say, to get ready for this exciting moment. So we want to work to enable business to do that, the community to do that, and it's why I was so pleased to see that you've convened this dialogue today.
On the topic of small business, you were out at our launch of our Best of the West food guide, and you saw some of those operators. I know a lot of them had ideas about what the state government and federal government could be doing to support and activate some of that work with small business. Do you get the sense that there's growing momentum and understanding now that there is some real opportunities happening at that sort of grassroots small business level in Western Sydney?
Yeah, to me, that was such an exciting intervention, that Best of the West food guide. To me, it is one of the hidden secrets that we don't tell the rest of the world. Locals know it. Anyone interested in food or hospitality knows some of the incredible offerings and just how diverse they are across the city as well. Well, the secret will be out as people land at the airport and head into some of these areas. So to me, it's a very authentic thing to be offering the world. It's a real expression of a multicultural city, some of the things that we love about Sydney. So I loved the specific intervention, but it's a great example of the sort of thing we've got to do to get set.
Yeah. The ribs weren't bad either. I'll say that, I mean, in addition to your many portfolios, and we had them listed earlier, the 24-hour economy one is an interesting one, and one that we think can be better utilised and leveraged. The airport spoke about earlier being Sydney's only 24-hour airport, something that we're not used to, probably don't really understand. In terms of that specific area around the 24-hour economy, what do you think it really does in terms of opening up opportunities for investment, for operators, for communities in Western Sydney?
Yeah, well, I think it's a huge opportunity, and it's one we're looking to back. It will be a big change, though. We've got to be honest. Sydney does not operate around the clock at the moment, and it will be a big change. Now, we're not arguing the case. The reason we should drive that change is that the economic opportunity is huge, the productivity opportunity is huge, the opportunity to have the best city possible and reach our potential is huge. But we don't want to drive that everywhere all the time. Our plan is to really break the problem down and work with the precincts, the areas that are moving to a 24-hour operation. So to give you some idea of where those places are across the state, the airport's a great example. It will be 24 hours. We need to do the work to then work out how that integrates with the rest of the city. The health district right in the middle of Liverpool is another great example. Thousands and thousands of workers who are working around the clock. We don't take account of them. We don't plan for them. We don't really have a way of recognising and allowing that work to be as smooth as it could be. Some of the ports, those port areas, particularly, each of them, again, working around the clock, we don't plan for that well. So we're really looking to break the problem down and do that analysis about what has to change so that if you work in one of these places, you can get a coffee before you go to work and a meal afterwards. You can have a lifestyle, transport there and back. You can get there safely. Those changes that our city's really got to reflect on.
Your stated ambition late last year was to grow the visitor economy, I think, by 40%, a $91 billion target by 2035. An ambitious one, some thought, but one that I think was received quite positively for that ambition. What are some of the things, and you mentioned hotels, because that's a pretty stark one, the lack of beds, particularly in Western Sydney, and rooms. What's the urgency? What's being done to create that sense of urgency, that to fill that need leading up to the opening, and obviously leading up to 2035? Is there a plan, or what sort of actions can we expect to see the state government take to reach that goal of growing it by 40%?
It is ambitious, but it's possible, and it's possible because of what's going on in the airport sector. The fact that Western Sydney's got its own plans for growth is spurring Kingsford Smith into competition. That's having an impact right around the country, as far afield as over in Perth or in Melbourne or Brisbane. So this is really going to lift the national economy, what's going on here, the discussion you're having. That's why these plans are ambitious, but we believe they're possible. We've then got to really plan to make that possible, though. On the hotel side, it will mean changes to the planning system. The energy and effort, the sort of opportunities we've tried to use to change the planning system to back housing, we've now got to do that for the hotel sector. And that's something we're discussing direct with the sector, but there's more work to do in government.
switching sides a little bit now on transport. It's been a tough sort of initiation, it's fair to say, the first few weeks. But the key ones today, we heard about Metro. Obviously, that key airport Metro line, we know it's not going to be functional by the time the airport opens at the end of 2026, which I think most of us understood and expected. It does open the door, though, particularly given that the road network around the Aerotropolis, some of those roads aren't going to be built in time for the airport either. What's being considered in terms of sort of some interim measures to ensure that residents, passengers, visitors are connected to the airport, from late 2026?
Yeah, the road work is really well underway. The Metro line's progressing very, very well, but I think anyone who's following the construction sector at the moment and the pressures on will know the cost and time pressures which are hitting every project, let alone the biggest public transport project in the country as we roll out these 3 Metro lines construction. We're still working through the timing, so I've yet to be advised precisely of the opening time. So I'm still kicking the tyres to make sure that we do this as fast as possible, working closely with Sydney Metro. We should see this, though, as a staged opening process. Day one is important, but it's really being able to step this up as rapidly as possible. That is the discussion we've got to have with the community, with the business community, with local councils. That's what government's got to be prepared for. So I want to be as best placed on day one, but day one's going to come and go, and there's still going to be big challenges and big things we do to lift. We need to actually set that plan out, and that's why I'm so glad you've done the work you've launched this morning. It's the key discussion we've got to have.
Yep. One final one. Roads, Aerotropolis roads specifically, were a big winner last year's state budget. Much has been said about the federal budget coming up, but you guys have got a budget coming out in June. Any insight, tips, hints on where things might lead on some of those transport projects?
Well, look, the Treasurer would be very upset with me if I gave the game away at this early stage. I think the thing I'd say is the priorities are clear when it comes to the early state budgets. We had the tough discussion ahead of the election with the community on the Northern Beaches about the $10 billion Northern Beaches link. The advice to government from Infrastructure New South Wales, from Infrastructure Australia was the return wasn't there. And unsurprisingly, if you want to invest for economic return, this is where the action is. And that's been where the priorities of the government are to date. We'll double down on those in future budgets, but I can't give away more than that.
Well played, well played. Ladies and gentlemen, please thank the Minister for everything, Joan Graham.
Thanks so much.